Hello. So I'm going to be doing the think aloud of the cycle of a butterfly. So before I even begin, I want to think of what do I already know about butterflies and their life cycle? Well, I know butterflies are beautiful. They have very colorful wings. I know that they come from a caterpillar, and caterpillars can look differently. Some can be hairy, some can be spiky, some can be um, they don't have anything but just one color. They eat a lot. Caterpillars eat a lot. They love leaves. They don't necessarily hurt you. Um, and once a butterfly comes from the caterpillar, they fly away and start eating flowers. So after watching our Brain Pop Junior on the life cycle of a butterfly, there's a couple things that I heard that I want to think more about. And those are the words pupa, which also is a chrysalis, and a larva. Those are two very unfamiliar words that I haven't heard of when it comes to the life cycle of a butterfly. So I'm going to start with the larva. A larva is also known as a caterpillar. So I already described what to me a caterpillar looks like. They're different, and they form a cocoon and then they grow into a butterfly. So what will help me remember the name larva when I'm going to refer to the life cycle? Well, what will help me is caterpillars are long, right? They're not like a little egg sac. So larva to me is also in the word large. So I could think of large when I'm going to think of a larva, which is a caterpillar. And then the other word I want to look at is pupa and how it's spelled Pupa. Well, if I look at it, I would think it would be kind of read like pupa or puppa, because if you look at the PUP, that's like the word puppy. So I'm going to really have to remember that the U is exaggerated to the word pupa. But it's also known as a chrysalis, and we know that pupa chrysalis is another word for cocoon. So what is going to help me think about it? Well, I really like rock candy. And I know that when you make rock candy, you have to kind of hold a stick with a string, and it has sticky stuff on it with boiled sugar. And then you wait a few days and it starts to crystallize, which is also in the word crystal, is also in the word chrysalis. So when I look at a caterpillar that has molded into a pupa, they kind of hang from a little branch. So that reminds me of the rock candy, which is crystal candy. So I think that will help me remember the word chrysalis. So we can say that first, the butterflies come from an egg, then they go into the larva, which is a caterpillar, then they go into a pupa, which is also a chrysalis and a cocoon, and then they form into a butterfly. So what do I learn more of now than I did before I watched the video? Well, I know now these words that were very unfamiliar to me are a little more familiar now that I can start using them into a sentence. So I am going to write on my Post-it notes egg on one, then larva on another, pupa on another Post-it note, and butterfly on another. And I'm going to take these Post-it notes and help me retell how a butterfly comes to be. So I know that a butterfly lays her eggs. And then from the egg comes a larva. And from the larva eats and eats and eats and eats and eats and eats, as we read in the story, the very hungry caterpillar. And then once it gets too tired, it goes and it makes a shell that's called the pupa, hanging from a tree. And it sits there for a while and sits there and sits there and sits there until finally it comes out of the pupa and it is now a beautiful butterfly. And that is my think aloud for the life cycle of a butterfly.